two schools in the Seattle area reportedly incorporating anti-police teachings into lesson plans for second graders. Now, one lesson appears to tell 7-year-old children that racist police routinely target innocent Black Americans, but don't suffer consequences because police cover for each other. Let's discuss with a person who reported that story, radio talk show host at KTTH Seattle, Jason Rantz, also joined by the author of How Trump is Making Black America Great Again, Horace Cooper. Welcome to you both.
Good evening, Shannon.
Okay, so Jason, your reporting on this got my attention, so I went and watched the video that you linked to. We have some of that so folks can see, but I want to put up a little bit of what it says because I watched this, and at one point, this is something that parents are supposed to watch with their kids, the video, and then the kids are going to discuss it online for their little classroom. It says this: a Black boy talks through the police shooting with his parents. They talk about it. The boy's father notes that the officer won't go to jail after shooting someone. The boy's brother says cops stick up for each other and they don't like Black men. That's not the only statement there, but I thought that's a lot for second graders, and I didn't see a whole lot of, explaining the situation or explaining those statements more fully.
Yeah, there's no context, there's no nuance to it, and, to be fair, you can't really have a nuanced conversation with a second grader, and that's exactly the point. Putting this content in front of a kid without any of the context and without any, reasonable guidance on why the conversations are taking place makes it sure seem like these schools have decided that they're going to indoctrinate kids with an anti-police bent, basically taking advantage of the fact that people are, right now engaged in civil unrest over police brutality issues. And so they're taking advantage and putting this content in front of the kids. And what's most shocking about this is the material doesn't seem to have been vetted. When I bring this up with at least one of the schools out here in Washington, they completely ignored my request for comment and then secretly started to scrub some of the content from their websites and from the materials. The other school also, when people decide parents got upset, they just pulled the video. And it seems clear that no one's vetting it.
Okay. Now, I also thought in recent days, this is very interesting, there's been a conversation about how classical music, and Beethoven in particular, may be racist or classist. So I started to read, as a trained musician myself, no Beethoven, what exactly this was about. So I want to read a little bit of this piece from the New Yorker. It says, Black scholars confront white supremacy in classical music. And they talk about when America was formed and the interest in European classical music, and says the whiteness of classical music is above all an American problem. When European classical music was transplanted to the multicultural United States, it blended into the racial hierarchy that had governed the country from its founding. The white majority tended to adopt European music as a badge of its supremacy. Horace.
This is really, really dismaying. The arguments that lack almost no logic or reason whatsoever. There was a time in America when pop music, when rock music was overwhelmingly dominated by whites and blacks weren't encouraged to participate. There was a time when entertainment on in movies and on television was the same way. You know what changed? Had nothing to do with some concentrated effort to end, quote, white supremacy. Talented people, when they were given a shot, participated, and it turned out that there were so many talented people, they dominated. In fact, you see this in sports, you see this in entertainment, and if Black America or any other group is interested in classical music and they wish to participate and they are talented, they will be welcomed and they'll be celebrated. It's just sad that someone would want to make this argument in this way as an example of bigotry when it's just the logic and the data just don't show that.
Well, and Jason, Vox talked about this, and they said that from the performance of Beethoven's Fifth, the big dun 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 dun, from that on, the way that concerts were attended was different. There was a different etiquette. You had to be on time. You had to dress a certain way. You could only clap at a certain times. And they said that's created a whole classism issue that, it's time to cancel classic music altogether.
Yeah, well, welcome to 2020,
Wow,
where
that's
literally
bigoted.
everything is racist and everything is problematic. I mean, when you go looking for a problem, you're certainly going to find one. And when you go in looking through everything through a social justice lens, it makes it that much easier. Look, if you want to make the argument that in certain circumstances, African Americans are being specifically kept from participating in this, then let's shine a giant spotlight on it and call it out. But this simply saying, oh, no, it's racist. It's racist because of the numbers of black Americans who are participating. Well, you should probably look at some of the other underlying causes rather than just looking at the data and without getting any context whatsoever, just jump to racism. But that is right now the world that we're living in. And unfortunately, like in this New Yorker piece, they spend 14,000 words making a really, really bad point.
And by the
Well, it's
way,
an interesting
saying
reading. They
that
do
being
talk
on
about the-
time. I was just going
Go
to
ahead,
say,
Horace,
saying
quickly.
being on time is somehow a white supremacy idea. I mean, this bigotry that undergirds the so-called move towards tolerance is really, really shocking.
All right, we'll leave it there, gentlemen. Horace and Jason, thank you both. Good to see you.